8th grade learners had the opportunity today to go out to the Horicon Education Center for our Student Authors Conference. So they had an opportunity to workshop with an author who was there working with the kids, and they had an opportunity to spend a lot of time working on their own writing. So the learners were given some prompts leading up to arriving this morning, thinking about some small moments that they could then write about and expound on while they were there today. So John and I were able to run out there at the very end of the day. We got there probably about 1:45. So we saw the wrap up of what they were doing, and when we got there, they were all in a circle. So these are first graders, I said kindergarten, first graders through 8th graders, all sharing the work that they did over the course of the day. So it was a very cool thing to see. We saw the end product, but a very cool experience for those kids to be able to have. And all of the learners who participate are participating there per invitation of their teachers. So these are invitations that are given to some kids who are some pretty strong writers and have a pretty strong writing voice to begin with. So it was a day for them to spend some time just focusing on their writing. A few weeks ago, I had mentioned that we were working on the application within Parkview to become a school-wide Title I school. That was submitted on Friday. So we will be waiting to hear, hopefully by beginning of June, mid-June, whether or not that application was accepted. And again, that means that simply the funding that we get from Title I will now be able to serve and be utilized to help all learners within Parkview rather than just the targeted group as it has been in the past.
Not more money.
It's not more money, but we can spread it out differently, which is a benefit for us.
And all the resources that have been purchased throughout the year's period would
not accessible to
can be
everybody.
used by anybody.
Because title funding is very much sticklers about anything that's being purchased with Title I dollars needs to be only used by Title I students. So they're very specific about that, but having a school-wide means those materials can be used by any of our learners and by any of our teachers. That leads though then to another process that we're in the middle of, which is taking all of our paraprofessionals and getting them trained as well. To be considered a school-wide Title I program, all of our paraprofessional staff within the buildings need to be considered highly qualified. So there is a training that all of our paraprofessional staff, whether they are regular ed paraprofessionals or special ed paraprofessionals, will walk through, and they'll be working on that over the course of this summer. Really, I think that's all I have for right now. We've got stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, but things that I'll report on at the next meeting. In fact, the next meeting I'll bring you all of my summer school contracts and just kind of give you a lowdown on what summer school is going to look like for our learners this summer.
Okay, thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
Can I ask Becky a quick question?
Yeah.
How did it go with the new program we started?
The STEP.
The STEP.
I want to report on STEP as well, because
that'd be great.
we've got about 7 individuals who've been working with us all school year long. So as we're wrapping up and we're going to need to be getting their checks out to their municipalities and their townships, I do want to share it.
Awesome.
Because it's been a good program. We've got people who are wanting to come back.
Great. Thank you, Becky.
Yep.
All right. Like Scott said, this week we're back to normal after the big camp week. They did survive. They had a couple of days of great weather and then it turned on them, but actually it wasn't as bad as what they thought it could be. And I will say that when I went up Friday morning to pack up and was loading the trailer, it was the smelliest luggage I've ever loaded. So I think the wet socks and wet shoes in that trailer were. But they had a blast, and the energy coming back was, they were tired, but a lot of energy and a lot of stories and memories to go with it. So our other big celebration this week is, as of this morning, we officially finished the Ford exam. We had 3 learners take a couple makeup tests this morning, but we are officially done. We're going to go through it one more time tomorrow, and then we will hit the final submit button. And I just want to say hats off to Karen Gurley. It obviously takes an entire building to pull off that testing, but Karen Gurley is phenomenal with her organization and staying top. And I told her today, she makes my life so much easier when I talk to other principals who are, you know, up to their necks in this testing stuff, and I can give it to Karen and she keeps me apprised, but she does a lion's share of the work, and so I appreciate that. And she bugged out a little bit early today for a couple weeks vacation, so well deserved and well done with her. I talked her into delaying it this year by a week so she could finish the testing before she went. So Scott mentioned the band concert tomorrow night it's the middle school concert, but it's at the high school at 7 o'clock. I hope you can make it to that. On Friday, we are having engineering day at the middle school, sponsored by John Deere and Spire. We'll be talking a little bit about robotics and careers in engineering. And we're hoping to continue to grow those programs. They'll be coming and doing about a 30 to 45-minute presentation for each grade level during the day. We covered the Wax Museum. You're welcome to come and join that. And then I just want to highlight a couple things. Also on Friday, you met our safety patrol and how that got started and the passion projects our kids have been doing. On Friday, a group of 8th grade boys organized a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and then realizing that not everybody likes to play basketball, a movie celebration to go along with it, and actually some other activities for the entire 7th and 8th grade classes. And that was their way of celebrating the finishing of forward testing, but all completely proposed and organized by 8th graders. And then today I had a couple.
Friday night?
What's that?
Friday night?
No, Friday afternoon during the day. So they organized and asked and got permission from 1 to 3 to do some activities to celebrate it. That goes into our Cardinal Hour, which is kind of ends up being kind of reward time most weeks anyway, so it fit well with our schedule. And then today I had a couple 7th grade girls come and propose on Art and Music Day, similar to the outdoor expo that we had earlier this year. And they had a whole list of presenters and small mini workshops on all things arts related. It was so cool, and I felt bad, but I said, you know, this time of year we just can't. But we were able to begin the planning and look at some dates, probably mid-October, to do that next year. So again, our hats off to our kids. We want them speaking up and being advocates, and pretty proud of them for coming forward with these plans. So thank you.
Thanks, John.
Good evening. At the high school, we heard that prom is this weekend. The dance started around 8 o'clock. Dinner will precede the dance. Different this year, we're both having the dinner and the dance at the Mayville Golf Club. Typically, students went to dinner wherever they wanted throughout the community and beyond. We're hearing from our parents that they like this idea of having all of our students together for dinner and then the dance after, and keeping it right here in Mayville. Post-prom will be at Dan's Kingpin starting around midnight, going to 2 a.m. Into Sunday morning. We have completed forward testing at the high school except for makeup. So our test dates are done. The majority of students are tested. We'll be doing makeups this week. Badger boy and girls were selected this year. We've had several applicants this year, so we have 2 Badger boys and then 2 alternates, and 2 Badger girls and 2 alternates. Our Badger boys are Nick Easy and Andrew Kempke, and our delegates for Badger girls is Sierra Shelpfeffer and Cami Vins. And then we're working on a new activity at the high school called Color Guard. This idea came up from our director, Mr. Cooney, who, for Color Guard, those are the people who throw the flags at parades or at the homecoming halftime show. Usually are taken from the membership of the band, and that decreases the sound of the band and the size of the band. So we want to open this up to any students who's interested and see if we can get some non-band students to take part in this and become our Color Guard. So we're looking at auditions within the next week and then trying out to see if we can create an activity called Color Guard at the high school.
Thanks, Bob.
Does that make it first for the winter, or?
Mr. Cooney will take care of that just as the director has in the past.
Okay, moving down to board organization, we have resolution 1617248, determination of board meetings, first and/or third Monday of the month at 6 p.m. in the administrative building.
So moved.
Motion by Dick, second by Joe. Any questions on this resolution for our board meetings? Dick?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 7-0. Resolution 1617249, designation of school district newspaper, Dodge County Pioneer. Motion by Norm, second by
I'll second.
Shannon. Any questions on this designation for a newspaper? Norm?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried, 7-0. Resolution 1617250, designation of official depository for investment of non-referendum funds, being TSB Bank, BMO Harris, Naval Savings Bank, American Bank, and local government investment pool of the state treasurer's office.
I'll move.
Motion by Shannon, seconded by
Dick.
Dick. Any questions on this list of depositories?
Do we use American?
No.
Just on there for.
Yeah, just in case.
We haven't used BMO Harris either.
No. Just in case we get a whole lump sum of money in that we can spread it out. Any other questions? Shannon?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617251, appointment of school district attorneys. Madden Vanderloop, Edgerton St. Peter, P-TAC Rosenfeld, Godfrey and Kahn, Davis and Keelthau, Samandel and Murray, S.C. Strang, Patterson, Rennick, Lewis and Lacy, Quarles and Brady, and WSB Legal Services. Motion by Norb, seconded by
I'll second.
Shannon. Each one of these has a different specialty that we use. We don't use all of them, but they're just available.
Now, do we spend money on each one? Like,
No.
Just when we use
Just
them?
when we use them.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Norm?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617252, appointment of school district auditor, Erickson and Associates. Need a motion?
I'll move.
Norm, seconded by
Second.
Dave. This is, about every, 3-4 years we change auditors. I think this might be.
Just put it out on bid.
Yeah,
It wasn't that long ago we did it.
yeah. But we usually stick with one auditor for 3 or 4 years, and then we like to switch to get some other input in. So any questions on this resolution for school district auditor? Nord?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Any unfinished business? New business, we have resolution 1617253, approval of monetary gift, $1,000 from Lawrence Zarnot Memorial Fund for 6th grade camp.
So, second.
Motion by Joe, second by Dick. Any questions on this generous donation?
That's a very nice
Nice tribute to your dad.
Thank you.
Joe?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617254, approval of monetary gift, $400 from Brad Washer for 6th grade camp activity.
That's awesome.
Need a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Shannon, second by Norm. And Jeff has been, what, I think the letter said 35 years he's been involved in this?
Yeah. Brad flies himself out here from Utah,
Yeah.
teaches a class, donates the money. Yeah, he and my daughter have been at camp since,
Since they
well,
were.
ever since they were freshmen in high school.
Since this-
Been
when they were-
counselors all 4 years,
Yeah.
and both of them, I think, have, within a year or two when they were each in college, have taught at the camp ever since.
Yeah, I think the letter said Brad missed 2 years. Very nice. Any questions on this monetary gift? Shannon?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. And letters of thanks will go out to both of those donations. Resolution 1617255, approval of preliminary teacher contract.
So moved.
Motion by Dick, second by
second.
Shannon.
Are we gonna see these teacher contracts?
Well, they have an individual teacher contract that's improved language. None of that's changed from the year before, and the dollar amounts don't change either. So they actually haven't been created yet, but there's an approved template, and there's no language changes in the template. So right now, you're approving the amounts.
Same as last year.
Yeah, there's no, it's all legalese. I did look at last year's agenda, and you approved the template, but considering there weren't any changes in the template, we just pulled it together. So, you know,
So yes.
that was the answer,
You could see a contract.
for sure.
Now Joe could get a copy of
Absolutely.
the.
I just don't have it with me at the moment. We have to go back there and grab one so you can see.
Because the amounts are all underneath.
Right, so so what happens is in the contract, what's individualized for the teacher in the contract, so obviously it's their name, it's their position, their FTE, and then their dollar amount. So the rest is all, everybody gets the same exact language. So one contract would tell you what everybody else is.
So they're all the same?
They're all identical. Yeah,
To a point, there's some of them that got 2 years, some got
there's only one with a
one
2 year.
left.
We're sunsetting those out.
Okay. Sometimes when we hire them, we make sure they stay around a while.
Okay, thanks.
And any extracurricular is separate, right?
It's
Those are all separate, those will all be presented to you separate. Any other compensation for extended days, duties, that kind of stuff, it's all gonna be, that's a separate piece. So right now, we have to meet the state statute timeline for the contracts. That's really all it refers to. The rest of it, we certainly don't wanna be out there hanging for the next 5 months here, so that's coming, definitely. But in the meantime, this is what we have to do by state statute. The rest, as we work out our budget, we'll work out those details too.
And when we do, if they do get a raise, then it goes back. I mean, they get paid.
Yeah, so like in October, there'll be some retro checks that we have.
Any other questions? Dick?
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 7-0. Any old business?
I will email out a copy of the blank
Sure.
contract, so everybody has it.
John, we do have, for our CISA 6 representative, designate.
That's next week.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
next
okay.
meeting.
You gotta be nice to them though, so run a good job. Send them candy.
I just want to make sure I'm hitting all my paperwork
Yeah, that's next meeting.
next week. Alrighty.
Additional citizen comments? Announcements? Just a reminder, next Monday.
I did take the liberty of copying out of, I believe it was last month's School Board magazine, and probably all of you have probably seen it. There was an article about future trends that I thought was very good. And I knew Joe and Dave wouldn't have seen that, so I made copies. I think it's good for all of us to read and think about, especially what's going on in the political world right now. This really applies.
Other announcements? If not, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.